Hello all, my name is Krishnak and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, today this will be an amazing video for every one of you because this was one of the most requested video, which is called as Agile Process in a data science project. Now many people are able to make successful career transition into data science. So many people also had a question, Krish, what kind of process is actually implemented in order to solve a data science project or a machine learning project or a deep learning project? Now, when I talk about the process, I'm talking about the software process like waterfall model. You have agile process, and agile process is right now pretty much famous because this is a very efficient method, to solve any kind of projects that you're going ahead with, like whether you want to go with web development, whether you want to develop a software products, whether you want to do anything. So similarly in data science project, this particular process is only getting implemented. And remember why I'm actually explaining you this particular project, because this particular process, because you may have to develop a project from scratch, and this may be a machine learning project itself, right? So we are going to understand what this entire methodology will be, how does this particular entire process actually work. So let me just first of all begin with this particular diagram over here, and before that I'll just hide my video so that you'll be able to focus on this particular session. So over here you'll be able to see that there are steps that starts from this. One is requirement definition and analysis of the projects or concepts. Then you have planning of the sprints. We'll discuss each and everything briefly. Then we have collaborative design development. Then we have create and implement. Then we have review and monitor. Okay. So now let's start. Usually, whenever we start with any kind of project, we have to do the requirement definition and analysis of the concept. So what we'll do, so let's imagine that we have started this particular sprint. So not sprint, sorry, this project. So this is a project which is basically to predict the AQI index. Suppose this is my project name. Now usually this project is coming from some client where there is a product manager who is the owner of this project. Okay, product manager. He'll be responsible for delivering this particular project in the client end. And from the delivery end, you may also have analytics manager. Okay, so I'm also going to tell you some of the roles that are basically involved in this. Okay, analytics manager, pretty much simple. So this is the entire project that we are actually going to do, AQI and all. So let's see how we basically start this project in the form of agile process. So the first step, as usual, it was mentioned, it is an requirement gathering. Okay, so here you actually have requirement gathering. So in this requirement gathering, who are the people that are involved? So in this requirement gathering, the people that are actually involved, one is actually the product manager, and the other person who is a very important person is called as the business analyst person, BA person. So these two people, what they do is that they actually jot down all the requirements. Okay, so they basically jot down all the requirements, and probably based on the requirement, just imagine that they have written 30 main stories. So these are the 30 main stories that needs to be implemented. So I'm just writing it down over here as 30 stories. You can also consider this as your task, 30 stories, right? These stories are basically written in a tool like Jira. Again, many companies use this Jira, where they will be able to track all the stories and all. Now just imagine the product manager has told that we need to complete this entire project in 3 months, right? We need to complete this entire project with 3 months. Now always understand, when the product manager says that you need to complete the entire story in 3 months, that basically means this is basically the timeline of the project. Now your analytics manager, which is again a very rare role. I'll talk about the difference between analytics manager and the program manager, right? In a data science project, usually an analytics manager is there instead of a program manager. This analytics manager will be handling the entire analytics team and will also be having a lot of technical knowledge with respect to the data science project itself. So this analytics manager, what they'll do is that they will plan with the product manager. Suppose the product manager is told that you have to need to complete the entire project in 3 months. So what will analytics manager do is that they will actually define the sprints time, right? So in every sprint, how much stories needs to be getting completed. So now suppose if I take an example, guys, usually in many of the companies, every sprint is basically given a timeline of 2 weeks. Yeah, and there are also companies which takes 4 weeks also, guys, but the best practice what I feel is 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks they try to complete one sprint, and based on the number of days or number of weeks that is there, they will try to divide the stories. Now just imagine that you have 30 stories, okay, and you have 3 months. In 3 months, how many weeks will be there? Let's consider that every month has 4 weeks. So in 3 months you have 12 weeks, right? And if your one sprint is 2 weeks, that basically means how many number of sprints you will be having? You will basically be having 6 sprints, right? And in each sprint, if you really want to cover 30 stories, so in sprint 1 you have to cover how many stories? 5 stories. In sprint 2 you have to cover another 5 stories, like this. So like this, if you continue doing, you know, based on sprint 3, like this up to sprint 5 or 6, sorry, you will be able to complete up all the stories that is required in this particular project. And based on this timeline, usually hiring is also done. Okay, hiring of the people is also done, because just imagine if in sprint 1 there are 10 stories, suppose, then obviously it cannot just be completed by 2 or 3 developers, right? They need to hire more developers, around 4 to 5 developers they need to hire, and they will probably be involving many people over here in order to solve this. And that is how the entire team is basically decided by the analytics manager along with the discussion with the product manager, and based on that the costing will also be given to the client company, basically like per hour basis and all, right? So this is the good idea where we are actually talking about how a sprint is basically decided. Now let's see. Now what once happens is that, suppose let's see that one sprint has actually started, because we also need to do something like continuous integration and continuous development, right? So suppose in the sprint 1, which is of 2 weeks time, there are 5 stories needs to be getting completed. Suppose it has got completed in sprint 1. Okay, now what is the next step before going to the sprint 2? Okay, once this sprint 1 is basically ready, you know, you can also say that all the stories in sprint 1 is completed, you know, just a second. Yeah, so all the stories in sprint 1 is completed. Then what happens is that the development team will push this entire thing to the QA server. Why they do this particular thing is that because the QA also needs to do the testing, right? Without testing it, how we will be moving this to the next environment or to the production, right? So for this will be the quality assurance testing by the QA team. They will be testing all the stories that has been developed in the sprint 1, and they will be moving this entire storage to the QA server, right? Now this is done. Now usually what happens, they will not stop, development team will not stop over here. The sprint 2 will now start. Okay, now in the sprint 2, what will happen is that now we have moved from sprint 1 to sprint 2. In the sprint 2, what will happen is that the developer will obviously have 5 stories over here. But along with that, if QA teams raises any bugs related to sprint 1, so those developer will also need to fix the bugs, right, in the sprint 2. So this is the process that usually goes on. And in sprint 2, at the end of the day, what will happen is that they will again make all the stories fixes, and they will also fix the bug, and then again at the end of the sprint 2 or in between bugs will be sent, guys. Bugs will be sent, but in between you will be able to see that the stories also, as and when it is getting completed, it will be moved to the QA server, so that the QA team will be able to do the testing, right? So the QA team will be able to do the testing. Now again, when probably the developer goes to the next sprint, that is sprint 3, again this entire process will be going on, right? The QA team will again be doing the testing, they'll be again raising the bugs, and they'll be assigning to that specific developer whoever has completed those stories and whose bugs are actually coming up, right? So like this process will be continuing like this up till the last sprint of sprint 6. And in the sprint 6, once this is getting deployed into the QA server, okay, just understand, guys, this is a very handy for you all, because if you are going to the industry, to work in a data science project, this process only many people will be following. More than 4 companies in my career I've seen following this particular process, and this is very handy process. So here again the QA team will be doing the testing. And later on, suppose if all the stories and bugs are closed, okay, now this product needs to be delivered, right? In order to deliver it, now from the QA server, this entire stories will be moved to the UAT server. UAT server. This is called as user acceptance testing. This UAT server is basically for the client team to basically test user acceptance testing. This UAT server is basically for the client, so that the client will be able to test all the stories over here. Yes, our QA team will also get involved, but again understand, this UAT server will be the exact replica of the production server, because if everything works fine over here, then we basically move to the next server, which is called as the prod server, the production server. In most of the cases, guys, this production server and UAT server will be the exact replica, because any bug that comes in the production server, they cannot directly go and make the change. They need to analyze that bug in this particular server itself, and based on this analysis, they will again be raising a bug to the QA team, and then it goes to my development team, and basically we will be doing this particular stories. Now this is the entire process. See how beautifully the sprint planning goes on, and how the bugs is basically fixed as we go ahead with the further sprints itself, and finally you'll be able to see it goes to the production server. Now what happens is that after it goes to the production server, suppose they are planning for more different stories, then again now the requirement gathering phase will start, right? This requirement gathering phase will start. Now after this, suppose the client want more things to get implemented now again that requirement gathering phase will come back again like this, right? And we had seen this particular diagram, right guys? See, after this probably they want more features, so what will happen at the end of the day? This requirement definition will again come back after this particular production is gone, right? After the entire story is gone to the production, then again probably the production, the entire the client team may have more 20 stories to get delivered. Suppose now they have more 20 stories to get delivered, so they will start planning their sprint 7, and in this sprint 7 they'll still assign the stories to the developers, and again this entire story will go to the QA. Then the QA will basically fix this, test it, assign the bugs, and this entire thing will be going on. But at point once the entire product goes into the production, guys, later on after every sprint, once the QA testing is done, it will now be moving to the UAT, and then it will be moving to the production in every sprint, because we need to deliver these products also. Once a main product is basically gone to the production, then any additional invention or any additional functionalities or any additional module you are doing, every sprint wise these things will be getting moved to the production, right? So in that particular way, you will be seeing that the entire process will be going in this specific way, and this is what an agile process looks like, right? Because if you're trying to develop, suppose this is my data science product, right? This is my data science product, right? So if I want to understand how this development actually works, we start with requirement analysis, then we go with sprint planning, then we go with development, then we go with deployment, then we go with review and monitoring, and then again this entire process will be continued whenever we need to add up any specific modules, right? So this in short was a basic understanding of the entire agile process. I've already showed you how does a sprint planning actually works. Definitely for a person who is around 14 years experience or 10 plus years experience, they can definitely look for this analytics role. It is an amazing role, guys. Salary will definitely be very high, right? So this is the thing that we have actually covered, and I hope you like this video. I hope you're able to understand how amazingly this entire thing is explained, and most of the data science project will be following this agile methodology process itself. So please make sure that you watch this video. again if you have not understood, and then let me know whether you like this particular video or not. So yes, I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Thank you, and all. Bye bye.